Strange New World, Star Trek. You've been watching.
I have not.
Have you been boycotting it because of the Doctor Who effect?
Yes, they've kind of killed Star Trek for me. Doctor Who is dead. Star Trek is pretty much dead. Star Wars is headed that direction.
Before it came out and there were previews of it and maybe some scenes, most of my favorite YouTubers, they're very, very anti-woke, much more so than I am. And, they obviously get a lot of views and a lot of money for being that way. So they are definitely incentivized to go on the attack. Plus, everybody's been burned so much by Star Trek, by Doctor Who. So I can't blame them for this at all. But I was predisposed to hate it because of the things I had watched. But I'll give anything an episode. I gave friggin' Jodie Whittaker an episode.
I watched the first episode of Halo. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So I watched it and I liked it. And then I watched the second one and I liked it. I have not been pissed off by anything yet. And there are some things where they take like a little bit of liberty, like in the first episode, some chick that ends up actually married to Spock at some point in the original series is there in the first episode. And she proposes to him and then they go off to bang. And, neither of them are in Ponvar yet. They all go off to, they basically are humanizing.
Vulcans don't do that. Wait a second.
Yeah, everybody hates it. Everybody hates it. It sucks. But then you go back to and this is by no means mitigating or an excuse, but you go back to the J.J. Abrams movie where Spock's getting all up in Uhura's business. I mean, you could say he's half human, so...
Fuck that rot. Just fuck that rot. No, of course he was half human. That's why he was trying so hard to be the best Vulcan ever. He was ashamed of his human side.
When he pops the human boner, he just can't resist. Besides some little nitpicky stuff like that, I think it's good. I think you should give it a couple of episodes and don't zoom in on one thing like that and then instantly tune out everything else that happens on screen for the next 45 minutes because you're ranting about that. Actually watch the fucking episode, keep an open mind and watch it. I think it's good. I like it.
Spock is one of my favorite characters in sci-fi literature. And if you're going to fuck with Spock, I'm already very suspicious of what's going on. They better be going somewhere with this or doing something with it. Maybe he explores his human side a little and decides it sucks and needs to go back to being a perfect Vulcan.
Whatever.
Nimoy nailed it perfectly in that Spock is about subtlety. There's the subtle half-human. He doesn't blow it out there and just go into a rage and start beating on fucking Benedict Cumberbatch. That was the least Spock thing ever. Angry. Sorry, I've been triggered. I need a safe space.
All right, well, you've got my recommendation. Watch a few episodes of it.
I will give it a shot then. I'll try it out. See, my thing is, be as woke as you want. Have a point. I like when a writer has a point and is pushing a view. Do that. But your first and biggest job is to tell an interesting story with interesting characters. And if you're failing to do that, we're not coming along for the rest of the ride. But, it's important to have a view. Have that view. Good for you, man. Tell me what you want to tell me, but put it in a story that I care about. I will follow your gayest, ethnicist character to the ends of the earth if they're doing something I want to see them doing.
But you won't because you don't watch The Wire. There was a guy in The Wire named Omar who was a street thug who got money by jacking drug dealers at their houses and stuff like that, and he had this reputation that grew over the course of the series where he was just he just walked down the streets of a shitty ghetto, and all the little kids who were lookouts, they'd start running away going, Omar's coming, and he'd walk up to the door of a crack house and just knock on it, and they'd throw the money and the drugs out the window. So he'd just pick it up and stroll off. It got to the point where he was that big of a badass, and the bad guys have to try to take him out, so they bring in this real well-known gang assassin, and then these two guys are going head to head. It's kind of awesome. That's why you should watch The Wire.
Okay, that does sound pretty.
He wasn't at all flaming or overtly gay, but he also did not hide it. I mean, he lived on the streets, but he very much was, his own man who did not give a fuck what people said about him. So that was really well portrayed. So Star Trek adjacent. Do you know that the Orville is coming back?
Fucking A, right. Hell yeah, I can't wait for the Orville.
It's getting to a point where it's maybe 2 weeks away. It's coming up real soon.
I've seen 0 previews, and I will see 0 previews.
I think in the intervening time that they were away, I assume because of COVID, but it seems like it's growing popularity and fame because it did a lot of growing once it was off the air for the second season. People started finding it and picking it up and talking about it. I think it's coming back with more money, a little bit more support.
Much like actual Star Trek, it did better in reruns.
Yes.
It's the only thing keeping Star Trek alive, and it's not even Star Trek. I mean, it's just got the sensibility of it. And, much like original Star Trek, the first few episodes are rough. The first season, a little. But then it kind of finds its stride, and it really knows where it's going. And I just love watching it because it really grows into its own show.
Yeah, and I love Seth MacFarlane. I don't like a lot of his humor all the time. Like I'm not one of those guys that can quote every episode of Family Guy. I have not seen the majority of Family Guy, but him as a person, as a comedian, as an artist, he's really interesting, charming. If you see him in like what was it called, like A Million Ways to Die in the West, he's a good leading man. He's got these skills that you don't even like know about until you dig into him a little bit. Like he was really into how was it, Lawrence Welk, or I don't know, some kind of old school kind of big band singer, not necessarily a crooner, but he had this whole special where it was like an hour of him just singing in front of a band, and I'm like, damn, dude can sing.
Like the sailor said, quote, ain't that a hole in the boat?
He's kind of impressive. And if you look at the long list of Hollywood starlets that he's been knocking out, that's kind of impressive.
I kind of disagree with your point there. I don't think Seth MacFarlane is that good of a leading man. I think he's kind of the weakest part of the show. I'm very aware that he's Seth MacFarlane. He doesn't really disappear into the role for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a little bit, like when you see him on screen acting, his face is a little bit plastic. It's not as expressive as like your average actor. I can kind of see what you're saying. I mean, the dude didn't come up as an actor getting roles for his acting ability. He, got funky voices and was very creative. But I mean, I will probably give him about 90% of the credit for the show being so good. Not necessarily because of his portrayal as a captain, but because of his love of Star Trek, his ability to quote lines from every single original episode ever. I mean, the show is him.
Yeah, he's the creative driving force of the show, and God bless you for that. But as a captain, he's no Patrick Stewart. He doesn't. I don't buy him as captain.
Patrick Stewart's one of those things that's been ruined for me, but I do know what you're saying.
I wouldn't feel super confident like with him heading up the ship if I was heading into battle. He doesn't read captain to me.
All right. Let's see. I'll ask you again once the third season's over. We'll see.
We'll see. Maybe he brings it up a little bit. I mean, the show is constantly growing, which is one of the great things about the show, and it's constantly showing you new things you didn't realize. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for an actual good piece of sci-fi to come out. It's been so long.
Okay. Talking about one of the shows, I forget the name of the Worf equivalent, who's the big alien dude.
Okay, what the hell is his name?
Whatever, Gronk or whatever the fuck it is. It's a name that sounds like that.
And by the way, one of my favorite episodes is where him and his husband there figure out that they really just love tobacco. And they just can't stop smoking the whole episode.
The episode where the whole controversy about when they have a child and it comes out female, which is not unheard of, but it's such a minority of their births, and when it happens, just culturally, they switch it to a male.
Yeah.
And all the controversy and the whole show happened and all this stuff and everybody took sides, and the ending, it wasn't like a happy resolution based on current American values. It was gotta let it go. That's just,
they're aliens. Aliens be aliens.
It was good because they didn't feel the need to buckle under and make it match, society's current definition, and the bravery to do that, the intelligence to do that, and the balls to do that. I think that was freaking awesome.
And much like actual Star Trek, they didn't tell you how to think. They presented the sides of the issue and asked you to think about it yourself, but they didn't give you the answer.
They didn't have designated good guy protagonist taking this side, therefore we all know that's the side that everybody should fall on. Yeah, none of that bullshit.
I think that's really the first episode of Orville where it occurred to me that, holy shit, this show has something.
This is more than dick and fart jokes. It started out, the first couple episodes were a lot of dick and fart jokes.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get to that one, which is about halfway through the first season. You're like, oh my God, they've got something to say.
Yeah, oh my God, this is better than anything I've seen on television in the last decade. Oh my God. And that'll do it for today's video, guys. Thanks for going on this journey with us. Let me know how you liked it in the comments section. And also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel as we bring you more thoughtful and intriguing content in the future.